Okay, welcome back to the Ultimate Money Guide. This is going to be part 2 of how to go from broke to rich. So in the previous video, we finished with a CEO office and an import-export warehouse. Now I'm going to explain how these businesses work, how to get the most amount of money from them, and what you should spend that money on. Okay, so just with the CEO office and an import-export warehouse alone, you can make probably about 320 grand in just an hour, and I'm going to explain how you can do that. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to source 3 top range cars. And if you don't know how to always get top range cars, then just click on that video link at the top of the screen, and that's my video explaining how to always get top range cars. So if you don't know, just go ahead and click that, and then once you've watched that, go ahead and source 3 top range cars and secure them to your import-export warehouse. Okay, so we're in our import-export warehouse. Now all we need to do is just log on. And once we log on to our computer, we go to filter by range, and this is where all the top range cars are. You don't have to have this many for it to work. As I said, about 3 or 4 will be fine. So just go ahead and click on one, and then click export. And then you're going to go to specialist dealer because it's the most profitable, and then just customize it. Now, when you're customizing the car, don't bother sort of spending your time trying to make it look as nice as possible. Just try to customize it as quick as you possibly can. That way it saves time. Try and do it in about 10 seconds. Okay, now you've customized it, just drive to the buyer and that's it. Okay, so we just delivered the car, we crashed it and we got shot a little bit, so we lost about 4k, but still we got about 76k in profit, and now you can sell another car in 20 minutes time. So in those 20 minutes, we're going to do VIP work. Okay, so now that you've made it back to the city, simply go ahead and start up the VIP work haulage. Now, if you can remember from my previous video, haulage is really easy. You simply just deliver a truck from A to B. It's as simple as that. All you need to do is just watch out for other players, make sure no one tries to steal your truck. But apart from that, you should be fine. So just connect to the trailer and deliver the truck from A to B. Easy as that. Okay, so there we go. We deliver the trailer and we get about 21 grand for that. And once you've done that, you'll have to wait 5 minutes until you can start up the next VIP work. Because as we know, all VIP works have a 5-minute cooldown time. So in the meantime, just drive around and just do anything you can to kill time. And once the 5 minutes is over, start up Headhunter or maybe Sightseer, whatever you want to do. It doesn't really have to be in a particular order. Just do whatever VIP work you can. Headhunter, Sightseer and Haulage are obviously the best ones. So try to sort of focus on those ones. Okay, so now you've waited for the 5-minute cooldown time to be over. Go ahead and start up Headhunter, and now Headhunter's quite tricky. You will need a weaponized vehicle to take out the targets. Now, if you don't have a weaponized vehicle, just go to the airport or go to any helipad and just look for a buzzard. That should do the trick. And now you just fly around the map and assassinate the 4 targets. And be careful because the targets will be shooting at you, so if you get shot up too much and you're flying a buzzard, it's probably going to start smoking and eventually crash, so just bear that in mind. But anyway, take out the 4 targets. And once we assassinate the final target, roughly 20 minutes should have gone by. So just go over to your vehicle import-export warehouse, and now we're going to sell the next top range car. Okay, so same as last time, just go over to your computer, go to filter by range, select top range, click on a top range car, and then sell it to the specialist dealer because that's the most profitable. So now modify the car as quick as possible. Don't worry about making it look all nice and giving it a good paint job. Just modify as quick as possible and then sell it. So now we just drive to the buyer. And there we go, we sold it, but again, we lost a little bit of money because we got shot at and we crashed a bit. But there we go, 96k or minus 20k from that, so 76k. And now we're just going to do some VIP work again. Okay, so we're back in the city, and now you can go ahead and start up a VIP work. I decided to do Headhunter again, but if you don't like Headhunter, if you think it's too hard, you don't have to do Headhunter. You could do Haulage or Sightseer. I just prefer doing Headhunter because it doesn't take as long, but if you find it too hard or you keep getting shot, then just do Haulage instead or Sightseer. It really doesn't matter, just as long as you stick to Headhunter, Haulage and Sightseer because they're the best paying jobs. Anyway, we go ahead and assassinate the final target, and just like before, about 21k. Now you just have to wait 5 minutes and you can start up the next VIP work. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start up Sightseer. This one's pretty easy. All you have to do is just go and collect 3 packages that are placed randomly around the map. And if you don't own any kind of fast vehicle like a helicopter, just go and steal one from the airport. It doesn't have to be weaponized, but it'll just help you get around the map quicker. And there we go, we collect the final package, so we get about 21k for that. And now roughly 20 minutes has gone by again, so we can go ahead and sell our final top range car. Okay, so same as usual, we just go ahead and log in, go to filter by range, top range, modify it as quickly as possible, and then sell it. Okay, there we go, we sold it, and that's it. And this took us about maybe 50 minutes to an hour to do this whole process. And now we can go ahead and take a look at our calculations to see how much money we've made. Okay, so we sold our first top range car for 76k because we did damage it a little bit. And after we did that, we did Haulage and Headhunter for both 21.5k. That took us roughly about 20 minutes. Then we sold our second top range car for 76k again. After that, we did Headhunter and Sightseer, both for about 21k. And then we sold our final top range car for 79k. So if you do the maths, that works out to be about 316.5k. And that took us just under an hour. Okay, so as you can see just there, you can make over 300k in just under an hour with this method. And all you need is a CEO office and an import-export warehouse. So even with these businesses alone, this is still quite a good source of income. Making over 300 grand in just an hour is pretty good, and you can make about $1 million if you're playing for, say, maybe 4 or 5 hours. So it's quite a good and quite a fast way to make money, but there's still other ways to make money, and we're going to move on to that now. Okay, so now you know how to make 300 grand every hour. What's the next business you should save up for? Personally, I recommend that you save up for an arcade, because an arcade allows you to do the casino heist. And the casino heist is a really good way of making money. And what makes it even better is that you don't need one other person to help you with all the setups like you do with all the previous heists. And they can all be done in free mode, so it skips you having to load into a different lobby, wait in the clouds for it to load. You can just do all the setups by yourself in free mode, as if you're like resupplying your businesses or something. It's that easy. Obviously, you will need one other person to help you with the heist finale, but it's definitely a big improvement from any heist we've ever had in GTA. So the casino heist is a really good way of making money. Okay, so to buy an arcade, go to the internet, go to Money and Services, go to Foreclosures Maze Bank, then enter site, and then click on arcades at the top to get rid of all the other properties. So now this is all the arcades. There's 4 in the city, and then there's 2 at the top of the map. Now the cheapest one is this one right here in Paleto Bay, but do not buy this arcade because it just makes things a lot more difficult, because you have to get your supplies all the way from the city up to your arcade in Paleto Bay, and because there's quite a few resupply missions or setup missions, it's going to be an absolute nightmare having to drive back and forth from the city and then to the arcade and then back and forth again. So just save up a little bit more and buy one in the city. It really does make things a lot easier. Okay, so this is the arcade that I own here, and then these are all the other arcades. They're quite expensive. Right now they're on half price, but usually they're about sort of $2.5 to maybe $3 million. So they are quite expensive, but they are worth it because the casino heist will get you quite a lot of money. Okay, so let's assume that you've saved up enough money using the 300k an hour trick to buy an arcade. So now let's go inside. Okay, so now we're in the arcade. This is the upstairs area, and this is where you can purchase retro arcade machines. Now, you might think you should buy these, but trust me, these don't actually do anything. All they do is just allow you to play retro games, and that's not really the main part of the arcade. The most important part of the arcade is obviously the part where you can start up your heist. So if you come down here, this is the heist planning room. You can also purchase a few extra things to go down here, like an extra garage and stuff like that, but we're not going to be talking about that today. We're going to be focusing on how to do the casino heist. So to start the heist, you want to register as a CEO, and it will cost you $25,000 to start up the heist, which I think is actually quite cheap. So anyway, go ahead and start it up, and then you'll be greeted with this board right here. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is click on Scope Out Casino, and basically this is where you scope out all the entrance and access points to the casino. So what you do is you take a photo of them and then you send them to Leicester, and the more places you take a photo of, the more places you can use to get into the casino and escape from the casino during the heist. Okay, so once you get to the casino, start taking photos of all the access points, like the front entrance, maybe this garage door here, these exits here, the cameras. Also, don't forget the little keypad by the door. Now just go around to the other side. There's another point of interest. This is the waste disposal unit, so take a photo of that and send it to Leicester. And now that's all the points of access on the ground. So if we fly up to the roof, there's a few points up there. So there's some security cameras, some doors there. So make sure to photograph all that and send it to Leicester. Basically, the more stuff you can send to Leicester, the better, because that way you've got more points of access to the casino on the heist. And also there's some places here on the roof, some cameras, some doors there. And that's most of the places. Now there's 2 other places that are quite important, which some people sometimes miss. This place down here allows you to unlock a particular method for the big con approach, which is really easy. So make sure to take a photograph of this door and send to Leicester. And then there's another place here, which you'd never think to go down, which is why so many people miss it. It's actually down in the sewer tunnels, and it allows you to use a particular method for the aggressive approach, which means you can just tunnel your way straight into the basement and you don't have to fight the enemies on the top floor. So go ahead to this point here and take a photo of this access point right here. Now you can just tunnel straight through to the basement and you don't have to worry about the top floor. Okay, so we scoped out the casino, and now what we want to do is we want to find out what's inside the vault. So go to the board and click Vault Contents, and this is where you're going to go and find out by hacking into the cameras to see what's inside the vault. Okay, so to get into the casino cameras, there's a security guard that's holding some sort of hacking device. So just go over to where he is, shoot him, lose the cops, and then head straight over to the casino. Okay, so now that you're inside the casino, pull out your phone, go to that little symbol at the bottom, and then just move around until that signal strength bar gets to the top. Once it does, you can hack into the cameras and see what's inside the vault. Okay, now you're in the vault, just turn the camera to the left to identify the contents. On this occasion we got gold, so gold is quite profitable. And once you've found the contents, just exit out the cameras and leave the casino. Okay, so now let's briefly talk about the vault contents. So there are three possibilities. These include cash, artwork, or gold. So cash is the least profitable, and unfortunately it's the most likely one that you're going to get. Then followed by artwork, which is slightly more profitable and much easier to get out the vault because there's not much of it to take. And then gold, which is more profitable than artwork. Now, unfortunately, it is random what you get inside the vault, and there is no way to change it. It's not like sort of getting top-range cards all the time by cheating the system. There isn't actually a way to change this, so whatever you get is just what you get. You just have to go with it. Okay, so now let's briefly go over how much you'll make depending on what's in the vault. Okay, so I like to do my heist with just one other person. That way there's more money to split between the two of us. So anyway, with cash, the maximum you can take is probably between 1.6 and 1.9 million, depending on the configurations of how it's laid out in the vault. With artwork, because there's only about 6 or 7 pieces of artwork to take out, you can usually get all of it. You've usually got time, especially if you're good at hacking, and that comes out to be about 2.3 million. Even though gold is more profitable overall, you won't have time to take all of it out of the vault, so you'll probably get between 1.9 and maybe 2.3 million, depending on the configuration. Okay, now that we scoped out the casino, we want to decide what approach we're going to do. So there's 3 different approaches. There's the aggressive approach, the big con approach, and silent and sneaky. Now, aggressive is just you run in there, guns blazing, and just shoot everyone and fight your way into the vault. That's basically it. It's not that hard as long as you do the correct setups, and aggressive's pretty easy. Next, we have the big con approach, and the big con approach is definitely the easiest one to do because if you do it correctly, all you do is just walk into the vault. You're dressed up as guards, so they just let you walk right into the vault. You take what's inside. There's no cameras in there, so they can't see what you're doing, and then you just walk out. And finally, there's the silent and sneaky approach. Now, this is definitely the hardest approach because you've got to sneak around past the guards without blowing your cover and also watching out for security cameras. And here's another thing, you can't just repeat the same approach over and over again. As you can see on my screen, the big con is locked because that's the one that I did previously. But anyway, let's now move on to the next thing. So now you can see you've got a gunman, a driver, and a hacker to choose from. As you can see, there's little percentage icons at the bottom of each one. Basically, this represents how much money they'll take from the final cut. And obviously, the higher the percentage, the better they are. But they take more money. So what do you choose? Basically, for the gunman and the driver, just pick the worst ones because it really doesn't matter what guns you have because you're only going to be going for headshots anyway. And for the driver, just pick the worst driver because it doesn't matter what cars you've got, and sometimes you might not even use the car, so don't waste picking like a 9 or 10%, just pick the lowest one, which is 5%. And for the hacker, you're going to want to choose the best hacker because although he'll take the most money, it's really important that you get the most time in the vault to take whatever's inside. So basically go for the 5% gunman, go for the 5% driver, and then go for the 10% hacker, or the 9% hacker if you haven't unlocked the 10%. Okay, so now let's talk about the setups. So as you can see, some have this sort of yellow and black star symbol. Basically, these are the mandatory setups, and these are the ones that you have to complete in order to start the heist. Now, all the others are optional, but I would recommend doing all of them, maybe apart from power drills, because even though they're optional, the heist will be a lot harder if you don't do them. So make sure you complete all the optional setups. As I said, maybe apart from power drills, because that's not really that important. But apart from that, definitely do all the optional setups. Okay, so in terms of all the approaches for the casino heist, I've got videos on all of those, so I'm going to link those at the top of the screen now. And if you don't know how to do silent and sneaky, big con or aggressive, just click on the links and watch my video and that'll explain how to do it the easiest way. But anyway, we're going to leave it at that for today. That's basically how to get started with the arcade and the casino heist. I'll be making a part 3 of the Ultimate Money Guide, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed, then feel free to drop a like. And if you're new to my channel and enjoy my content, then consider subscribing, and I will see you next time.